If you lost your job or couldn't work due to coronavirus, you could be eligible for unemployment through the CARES Act. I wanted to make this video to make sure that Americans aren't missing out on this CARES Act relief. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Min. I talk about personal finance, how to save money, and how to build wealth. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Let's get into it. A lot of business owners were forced to close their doors because they became non-essential. They were actually fined if they did not. And what ended up happening was a lot of people lost their jobs or got reduced hours because of this. The CARES Act tried to address this by giving people free loans through the Payment Protection Program, or PPP, but ultimately some businesses just decided to just let their employees go because there's really no point in keeping them on the payroll. Now, if you were one of those employees that were let go, or you got laid off, or let's say you had some other qualifying reasons, let's say you were diagnosed with COVID-19 and you were sent home, there's actually a lot of relief out there for you through unemployment. Also, disability has also changed as well, and so if you are unable to work due to COVID-19, then you can actually go on disability. But let's say you were one of those people that got furloughed or lost their jobs or had to shut down their business and lost a lot of wages because of that. You actually are eligible for unemployment. Now, there are a lot of reasons you can qualify for unemployment. I'm not going to go through the entire list. I'll leave an FAQ down below, but I'll talk about some of them now so you're aware of what some of them are. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but if you lost hours or lost wages due to closures, let's say you worked in the restaurant and now all of a sudden they don't need all the waitresses or all the waiters, then you qualify. If you were laid off, let's say your business didn't need all the workers that it needed like it did before, and they let you go, then you also qualify. Another reason that you may not be aware of is because of all the closures of the schools and daycares, you may have had to quit your job to take care of your child. If this was the case, then you're actually qualified under this as well. So here in California, we closed all of the schools. Many other states did the same thing. And so if you all of a sudden had to quit your job to take care of your child, then you qualify for unemployment. If you had to quit your job to take care of somebody that had COVID-19, then you qualify as well. Another one that's not obvious is if you were offered a job and then all of a sudden that job disappeared, let's say the company decided they're not going to hire anymore, then you actually do qualify for unemployment. You might have to prove this somehow with a letter or an email, but it clearly states on the website that if you were going to start a new job or even start a new business and you had to put it on hold, you actually qualify for unemployment. So it's best to check. Now, that's just some of the reasons. There are obviously more. You can go on the FAQ website. Like I said, down in my description, I have one for California. You can take a look and see if you qualify. Now, worst case scenario, even if you don't qualify, it's best to just go and apply anyways. You'll have a drop down list on the website where you can pick all the different reasons, and maybe one of them not even mentioned on the FAQ, maybe one that you actually qualify for. And so it's best to just check. Even if you get denied, the worst thing that's going to happen is they're just going to say no. Now, prior to the CARES Act, unemployment was only available to people that were regular hourly employees or salaried employees. They actually paid into unemployment. And so people who were self-employed or contract workers or gig workers actually did not get unemployment. And so under the CARES Act, this was extended to qualify more people. And so you can imagine these independent contractors or these self-employed people had to shut down their businesses as well. So imagine like a handyman. They're usually self-employed. They go into people's homes and fix, household appliances and things like that. And now all of a sudden nobody wants you in your house because you may have COVID. And so those people are actually affected. Now, prior, they didn't actually get unemployment, but now due to the CARES Act passing, they actually qualify for additional relief. Now, many of the states actually have not implemented this into their unemployment system yet, because typically they only work with people who are hourly or salaried. But here in California, as of April 28th, you can actually go and apply for this relief. So that means that if you were a Lyft driver or an Uber driver or a real estate agent or a handyman, a plumber, an electrician, the list goes on, you now can qualify for pandemic unemployment assistance. Now, in California, it's called PUA. In other states, it might be called disaster unemployment, something of that nature. Just go look at your state's website to see if you can qualify. So the next question is, how much can you get? So it really depends on your state benefits. The only thing the CARES Act did was it extended it to more Americans. It extended how long you can get unemployment for, and it added an additional $600 per week to the maximum benefit that your state allows for a certain period of time. So here in California, you can get unemployment for up to 26 weeks with a maximum benefit of $450. And with the CARES Act, now you can get unemployment for up to 39 weeks. So an additional 13 weeks was tacked on to the end. And then from March 29th through July 25th, 2020, you can actually get an additional $600 on top of your maximum benefit. So if you were getting $450 a week for unemployment, then now all of a sudden you can get $1,050 a week. And then after that, you would just get the normal $450 a week or whatever you were eligible for. So it's best to go and check your state website to see what their maximum benefit is, how long they pay it out for, and then whatever that ends up being, just add $600 a week to that from March 29th through July 25th, 2020, and then tack on 13 weeks to the end. Now, how do you apply for this benefit? Well, you have to go through your state website. The federal government is working with each of the states to administer this relief, and so it's going to take a little bit of time to implement all of these things in. You know, all the states have to adapt their systems to tack on the 13 weeks to make sure that that fund is coming from the federal government, for example. And then that extra $600 a week was only for that specific time period. And so they have to factor that in as well. So some of the states are working through this. They're trying to update all of their systems to make it all work properly. And some of the states are still working on the application process for these self-employed, contract workers, and gig workers. And so you might have to wait a little bit longer for that. Another question is, when will you get this money? So a lot of the states already have unemployment websites ready to go. And so if you put your application in, it's probably only going to take a couple of weeks to get your money. Some of them may call you to validate some of your information. A lot of states already know what's going on and they know that they need more capacity. And so they have been adding more workers and increasing their hours because unemployment applications have skyrocketed in the last 3 weeks. Now the good news is it doesn't really matter when you apply for this, because based off the information you entered, they're just going to back pay you all of that benefit that you were entitled to. And even if you applied, let's say in May, it will backdate all the way back to February 2nd. They chose February 2nd as the start date of this virus. Now the good news is in some states like New York and California, the $600 is already implemented. And so if you go and apply for this, you should already be getting this amount. In some other states, it might take a little bit longer. So just check your state's website to see when they're going to actually give you this money. And one final question is, will you have to pay this money back? And the answer is no. This is actually unemployment insurance, and so you should not have to pay this money back to anybody. The CARES Act is also an extension of this, so you should not have to pay any of this money back. Now, one thing to keep in mind is all of the money that they're paying you is actually taxable. And so depending on where you're from, let's say if you're from California, you won't have to pay this on your state taxes because it's not taxable income on the state level, but it is taxable on the federal level. So at the end of the year, you will get a 1099-G form to file your taxes. And so you will have to pay taxes on the amount that was paid out to you. And so just keep that in mind. Now, one way to avoid this is you can actually ask the unemployment office to withhold about 10% from your maximum benefit. And that way they can take some of that out before they actually give it to you. So very similar to your paycheck where they take taxes out to hold for paying your taxes next year. Otherwise, let's say you get like $20,000 in benefits, you might have a pretty hefty tax bill at the end of the year because no taxes were taken out when they gave you this money. So there you have it, guys. Pretty much every American is now eligible for unemployment if they are affected by COVID-19 in some way or another. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier is that $600 additional for those 4 months may actually end up paying you more than if you were to work your normal job. Now, I don't think that's something to celebrate because at the end of the day, you either lost your job or you had reduced wages or you couldn't work. And so use that money wisely. There's going to be people out there that will tell you like, oh, you don't deserve that money, you're getting paid more than me and I have to work and I'm essential. Well, those people have a job still and you don't even know if you're going to have a job. So use this money wisely. Hopefully the economy recovers, you can get your job back, you can get off of unemployment, and hopefully that $600 a week extra is going to help you through this time. Hopefully this video was helpful and you learned a little bit about unemployment benefits available to you. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. It really helps my channel out a lot. Make sure you share this with your friends or let your friends know about it because they may be missing out on some money that they are entitled to. And if you like content like this, consider subscribing to my channel. Have a great day and be safe out there.